Hey, you guys, happy Tuesday. It is December the 5th, 2023. We're almost at that mark to where it is the new year. And I can say I am truly ready for the new year. I'm ready for new beginnings and I'm ready just for everything new. But I think it is very important, especially with it being after Thanksgiving and right before the holidays, is to be thankful. And I don't mean be thankful for, a lot of us are thankful for the good things. We're thankful for the houses. We're thankful for the happiness. We're thankful for the marriage. We're thankful for the children. We're thankful for all of these good things, which I think which is great, which is definitely amazing, especially when it comes time to trying to figure out how to find great being thankful, right? How to find grace and how to move forward by looking at the positives and not the negatives. But I think that's what happens in life is we always view the negatives as negative, right? When in reality, we get knocked down a lot of times so that we can learn to humble ourselves, or we can learn to settle within the life that we are. And I don't mean settle as in being accepting of less than what you deserve. I mean settle as in finding your footing and grounding yourself with Mother Earth and speaking with God. And if 2023 has not taught me anything else, it has taught me that life is gonna life. And life is going to happen whether you want it to or not. I am very much so a control freak. I would definitely acknowledge that. And I feel like a lot of us who grew up in a certain type of household or who grew up a certain way had no choice but to be a control freak, because if we didn't control the outcome, then life would happen. And when you have younger siblings, you don't need life to happen all the time, because you have to sometimes step up to that plate and make sure that things happen accordingly. So today I would like to talk about, number one, being thankful and being grateful for where we are on our journey. I don't know if you guys have this app called Quora or Coro something. I don't know how to pronounce it. But it sends me these random, and it started, I don't know how long ago it started. I just know it started some time ago. It started sending me these random just emails. And for the longest, I would just ignore them and hit spam or hit unfollow or just put it in the trash. But I would say a couple weeks ago, they sent me this little email, and it was about the twin flame journey. And prior to this, I had heard about the twin flame journey, but I wasn't like, oh my God, it's a twin flame journey, da 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 da. So prior to that, I wasn't really, thinking about it. And if you listened to my podcast earlier this year, as you guys know, I have not been consistent like I want to be. But I went through, I'm married and we were currently in separation, and the separation is really hard on me. And I was sitting down one day and I was talking and I was asking God, like, why is this relationship so hard to shake? I've been in relationships, I've been in love, I've been in situations, and when I felt like it was no longer serving my highest good, I was able to pack up these feelings and these emotions and keep it moving, right? But this is how I know I am elevating and I am moving down a different path in life, is because what used to work no longer works. What was good is no longer good. Okay? The running no longer works. I'm a runner. Like, I am a runner. I think I say that in every last one of my podcasts. Baby, I run. I don't want to feel pain. I don't want to feel emotions. I don't want to feel discomfort. Any level of discomfort, I will literally pack everything in my house and move to a different state without a problem. And I will meet new friends. I will have a new job. I will have a new life. And in the past, that worked. Okay. All those years, it worked. Okay. And this situation that I am in and I am trying to navigate is proving to me that, like I said, what worked no longer works. I packed up. I moved to a different state. I've been putting in applications to move to a different country. And what I am learning is that I am being forced to remain where I am. Like, not to my liking. I am being forced to sit in this and to feel it. All right, because I like to avoid pain. I like to avoid discomfort. And so now I am in a season of sitting in my own mess. And I don't like it. And I go back to, the app that sends me all these emails every day, and it's talking about the twin flame journey. And I read them because they're interesting, and I can't wait I feel like sometimes it defines the situation I'm in, and sometimes it doesn't. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm just ready to let go, move on, surrender myself, surrender the relationship, and be happy and in love, and just get it right with somebody who is as tired as getting it wrong as I am. I am ready to use all of my prior knowledge from prior relationships, so that way the next relationship is not a repeat of current relationships or past relationships. I am ready to get to a point in my life where I can say, I did the work, I did the shadow work, I did the soul searching, I did the spiritual journey, and now I am at a place where I have settled. My feet are now grounded, and my life is flourishing. I am ready to get to a point to where I can say, today is a new day. And no, I don't have all my ducks in a row. And no, I don't know the outcome. And no, I don't know the future. But today is still a day where I am going to show gratefulness. Now, go back to these emails that I was receiving. And in the email, I received one that says, 5 reasons why you're not ready to reunite with your twin flame. And in my head, I'm like, well, I'm not really sure if that's what I even want. I know for sure that I want these emotions gone. I know for sure that I want these feelings gone. I know for sure that I am ready for balance, and I'm ready for life to take an uplift instead of a downshift. But what I am not sure about is if that's the path I want to go down. But me being me, I'm like, okay, well, let me read it anyways. So I read it, and it says, you're not being grateful. You're constantly asking God, why are you taking me through this? Why are you putting me through so much of this? And why are you doing that? And why are you doing this? And I had to stop because I said, wait a minute. This isn't even about reuniting with a twin flame. This is about my ability to thank God for the lessons. This is about my inability to take a step back and evaluate the situation from a non-biased perspective and evaluate the situation from a perspective of growth. And all of this, and I said things that worked back then no longer works, is teaching me that I am elevating my energy. My vibrations are elevating. My life journey is elevating. My status in life is elevating. Those things that no longer worked, or those things that work that no longer work, they no longer work because they are no longer on the same level as me. Right? Those things that worked in the past, they can't work here because we're not going to the same place. They can't work here because I need something different. I need to learn how to be able to control my emotions. I need to be able to learn how to sit in my own mess and acknowledge where I went wrong, but to also acknowledge how it helped me grow. This has been a painful year, but it has been a year worth of lessons. This has been a sorrowful year, but it has been a year of blessings. This has been a year where I 10 times out of 10 do not recommend, and I do not want a repeat of 2023, but I would not trade 2023 for anything in the world. I've learned that I have flaws. Right? Not that I didn't already know that, but I learned that sometimes when I feel like I'm right, I'm not always right. I've learned that sometimes when I feel like I know what's best for me, it's not always what's best for me. I've learned that sometimes when my mind and my heart are not on the same playing field, my gut is actually what's telling me what I need to do, because the mind can trick you and the heart can't ever be trusted. But I have learned that my gut will never send me astray. So I go back to saying thankfulness. And I want us to learn how to say, God, this almost broke me, but it didn't take me out. And I thank you for the lesson that it taught me. I want to go back to, God, this right here, it shattered me. It broke my perception on life. But I thank you for removing the lenses that were blinding me. This right here taught me that, God, I thank you for the noise. I thank you for the chatter. I thank you for the different people speaking to me in my ear. But I also thank you for turning me deaf to the things that no longer serve me. I thank you for giving me the discernment to be able to hear what people are actually saying, but I don't have to listen to the words that are coming from their mouths, because we all know that what I say and what I mean sometimes don't mean the same things. And I don't think that it's intentional for you to come to me and say one thing and mean another. I just think that as human nature, we like to avoid hurting other people's feelings, and so we don't necessarily say the things that we need to say and mean what we need to mean. So I want us to take a moment, out of our busy days. And I try to do this. I used to do it back in the day, and I stopped doing it because I allowed myself to get distracted by life. But I like to wake up in the morning times, and I like to identify 5 things that I am grateful for. I like to identify 5 things I'm grateful for. I normally say I am grateful for life, health, and strength. But I don't use those as 3. I use that as 1. Because life, health, and strength all for me, it's all under the same category. All right? I'm alive. I may not be the healthiest person out there, but I still have my health. Okay? Something may not be operating correctly, but something else is operating correctly. And I may not be strong enough in this situation, but there are other situations that I am very strong in. Okay? So that's number 1. Number 2, I'm thankful for love. I may feel unloved in this moment, but I can always look to my mama and know that she loves me. I can always look to my nephew and know that he loves me. I can always look in the mirror and know that even though on the surface I may be saying I don't love myself or I am unworthy of love, deep down on the inside, I know that I love me. Number 3, my job. It might not be the highest paying job and I might be living check to check, but I can still pay a bill. At least I'm not living in my car without a job whatsoever. So I am grateful for my job, the income that is coming in. Number 4, I am grateful for food on my table. It might not be steak and shrimp and lobster and crab legs, but baby, it's getting me full. Okay? It's getting me full. It's putting me on the road and the path that I need to be on or that I want to be on. Number 5, the journey. And number 5 is always the hardest for me because I hate this journey. Okay? Like, I don't ever in my smoky voice want to go down another spiritual journey in my life. And when I say I don't want to go down another spiritual journey, it's more so I don't want to feel because when you elevate to a new level, when you begin to vibrate on a different frequency, I don't know if you guys have ever heard the term new levels, new devils. And in order to be able to stay or to vibrate on this frequency, you got to show that devil that you ready to go to town. Like, what's up? What's good? Like, you got to go up to them real quick. Like, what's good, baby? I'm from the country, but please do not underestimate because these hands are rated E for everybody. Like, but you also got to be able to come to God and say, God, I can't do this by myself. Like, I think I'm not even going to say one day because it's every day. Okay. It's not a day that does not go by that I do not say, God, if you don't do it, it won't get done. Because I have tried to carry this burden by myself. I have tried to handle these emotions on my own. I have tried the therapy. It ain't working today. And don't get me wrong, because I'm a therapist. And therapy works. But at this stage in my life and at this journey that I am at, therapy, it ain't therapy. Okay, like I call my friends and I'm venting and they tired of hearing me vent about the same thing I've been venting about for a year. And quite honestly, I'm tired of venting about the same thing I've been venting about for a year as well. But in the same sense, I have to get it out. You know, God, if you don't wipe these tears, they won't get wiped because they won't stop flowing. And I've tried the things to get them to stop. I've tried the running. I've tried the drugs. I've tried the women. I've tried the promiscuity. I've tried the multiple jobs. I've tried drowning myself in artwork. I've tried drowning myself in reading. I've tried drowning myself in driving. I've tried drowning myself, period. I've tried drowning myself in anxiety pills. I've tried drowning myself in depression pills. And here we are. Here we are, still dealing with the same pain. So, God, I'm coming to you and I'm down on bended knees and I'm begging you to understand that if you don't do this, it won't get done. I've tried the other idols and it ain't really working for me. Okay, it's just making situations worse. I've tried everything under the sun, so I need you to come and lift me up because I'm down. Nothing else is filling that void. Nothing else is filling that pain. Nothing else is filling that unhappiness. Nothing else is filling that uneasiness. I need a new story to tell. I need to shed this old skin and shed this old baggage because I need something new. I need something fresh. I'm ready to start over. I'm ready to lay down my burdens at your feet. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for you to carry all my pain because my shoulders are heavy. I don't have the motivation anymore. But I think we have to get to a point to where we can actually identify the fact that we can't do it alone. And that's okay, because I am a huge, look, I'm a whole motivational speaker out here, okay? I'm a huge believer in learning to love yourself, and you can do it. But what I have always failed to express and failed to acknowledge for myself is that God will put us in a position, or life, because you might not even believe in God. Life, the most divine, the creator, evolution, whoever it is you feel like helps control and shapes your destiny. If you feel like, they always say free will, free will, free will, you got free will. That's a lie. I just feel like that's a lie. If I had free will, a lot of things that I have put myself in, or a lot of things that have come my way, I would have moved on out the way. Okay? A lot of times we feel like we have no control over things that are happening in our lives, and sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. But you need to be able to discern between the two. But I say all of that to say is, if you give God the faith of a mustard seed, if you put in the effort, if you put in enough effort the size of a mustard seed, if you put in 0.00001%, he gonna put in that 99.99991%. But we have to get to a point to where we're like, I can't do this by myself. I'm grateful for the lessons. I'm grateful for the pain. I'm grateful for everything. But I'm here to let you know I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of crying at night. I'm tired of waking up with the same thoughts on my mind in the morning. I'm tired of drowning myself in work so that I don't feel. I'm just tired. But in the midst of me being tired, I'm thankful. And so I think we're at a point in life, or I think 2023 should have taught us that it's okay to be thankful for the bad. It's okay to be thankful for the bad relationship that didn't work out, because it taught you what you won't accept in the next relationship. It's okay to have gone through that abusive situation, but it's okay because now you know what red flags to look for in the person. You know all that love bombing is fake, sis. And I think we get caught on that love bombing because we've never had anybody do the love bombing. I think that at some point in our lives, we need to be able to take a step back and reevaluate the bad, because on the surface level, it's cutting you like a knife. But on the deep down on the inside, when those wounds start healing and you can look in the mirror and you can still see those scars, you know to not go back to what broke you. You know this. You know to not dwell, to sit in it, but to not dwell in it. So, you guys, I would like to thank you for hearing me out today. And I hope that this was informative, or I hope that you guys enjoyed listening to this podcast. I am not consistent. I have not been consistent. And that's terrible of me. And I always want to have like a whole shebang of a list of what I want to talk about and how I want to talk about it. But then I'm randomly driving down the road and I'm like, this is how I feel. So somebody else must be feeling this way. Like, let me go on here and talk to y'all for real. And I wish I could also be like, hit me up on XYZ, but this is really the only platform I have. Like, I have TikTok. If you want to follow me on TikTok, is Miss Rebecca the Therapist. You guys can always shoot me an email at sunflowerslifecoaching@gmail.com. Please like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please shoot me an email. I would love to hear from you guys. And I know that I was looking at like the statistics of the people who watch or who listen to my podcast, and I just want to say, of course, the great old USA is listening, and I thank y'all. But Australia, y'all really be listening to me. So I hope you guys have a good day. I hope you are able to start your day off with some positivity, some love, and some light. And take it moment by moment. Well, before I started this, I said I'm going to channel my thoughts to think positively, or to acknowledge the bad things, but to acknowledge the good things that came with the bad things. And if this podcast has not done anything else, I hope it's shown you a little bit of insight on self-love and self-worth, and because you're worth it. You are so worth it. Practice those 5 things of gratefulness. What are 5 things you're grateful for? What are 4 things you love about yourself? What are 3 things you want for your future? What are 2 things you wish you could change? And what is 1 thing that you regret, but you learned a lesson from it? I hope that you live your best life. And until next time, I'm not going to say next week. I'm going to say next time. Until next time, I love you and be blessed.